We'll be starting in 10 minutes. Our guest today, Joe Valley. He's written a book, Exitpreneur, and we'll put a link in the comment section if you want to get that book today. Only 99 cents on Kindle. That won't last very long. And we'll be talking today about how to exit your business. Hey everybody, it's Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. Today we're joined by Joe Valley, who is with QuietLight Brokerage and just hot off the presses with a bestseller on Amazon with the book titled Exitpreneurs. Thanks for joining me, Joe.
Good to be here, Stephen. Good to see you.
So Joe has been on our podcast several times. I've also been on the podcast with QuietLight. QuietLight is some good people, as they say. Joe Valley, in the review that I left for his book, I called him the sauce, and that really resonates for me in terms of how I look at Joe. Like, without Joe Valley, you would not have the proper sauce to have the flavor that is required to understand how to exit a business. And so, chatting with Joe, I know one of the primary reasons that he wrote his book was because he was tired of repeating himself. He has such good knowledge that everybody needs. All right. So Joe, why first of all, tell us a little bit about the book. Why did you write it? And let's start with that.
Yeah, it's a funny story. I had two working titles for it. I got to just say this first. The first was Incredible Exits. The other was Exitpreneur. I surveyed a bunch of folks that I know, probably a dozen or so, and 90% of them liked Incredible Exit. So of course I chose Exitpreneur, and everybody has such a hard time saying the title. It's called the Exitpreneur's Playbook, and what it is everything that is inside my head, Stephen, that I've developed over the last decade in the $500 million of online exits that I've touched through personally through the 100 million that I've sold and another 400 million through QuietLight. It's written for the individual online business owner because it needed to be written. I am one individual and I can only talk to so many people and can only reach so many with a podcast. And I've had I counted, it's well over 5,000 individual conversations with entrepreneurs over the last decade. And it's a small amount, right? If I can sell 5,000 books in a week, I can reach and help many more people. So that's kind of the point of writing the book.
We've got a live guest audience today. If you have any questions for Joe, he's a great guy to ask questions. He's going to be very insightful. He does the same thing that we do at My Amazon Guy, where he shares his trade secrets very openly. You can buy his book today for 99 cents on Amazon. We've already dropped the link in the chat. Kevin says, good morning. Mark Cons, thanks for being a member of the My Amazon Guy channel. If you want to become a member today, just hit the join button at youtube.com/myamazonguy. Joe Valley is the man. Loving the new book. So you've already got a couple of super fans in the audience. I also rang up my good buddy and mentor, Harry Joyner. I said, Harry, what question would you ask Joe today? So we'll see if he chimes in today in the audience and asks the question. So no pressure, Harry. All right. So in the book, I've been reading through various different areas, to things to bring up. You talk about one key area that I found very interesting, and I'm going to share my screen here. So on page 68, let's see if I got that right. Hold on. Well, here, since I clicked the button and it randomly went to, here you go. Here's where you can find the #1 bestseller in business and planning forecasting right now. Check it out right now. You can see 66 reviews already popped in, and mine is one of them. So this price here, that Kindle price, that is not going to last very long, is it, Joe?
I think it's just one more day. Yeah, it runs
one more day. So go pick up his book for 99 cents.
Yeah, through today.
All right. So on page 49 of your book, which I think I've lost my content section now, you ask the reader to write down their monetary goal as well as their feelings goal. And I'm guessing a lot of people forget about their feelings. Why is that?
Oh yeah. Look, it's, people are often selling their business because they're just tired and worn out and they need to move on. And more often than not, when I ask a client how they feel after they sold their business, and I don't mean touchy-feely how you feel. And I'm like, so how's it feel? Usually I feel a tremendous burden lifted off of my shoulders, because they're just grinding it out all the time, trying to squeeze more money out of the business and fight off competitors and send more money to their manufacturers overseas, and they don't get to keep a whole lot. But I think it's important to not only set a monetary goal, but a feeling goal as well. As corny as it does sound, I worked with a business coach that focuses on this a lot. What is the feeling that you want to have when you achieve your goal? Your goal may be a monetary one, but it's not always about the money. Do you want to spend more time with your loved ones? Do you want to spend more time working out or golfing or boating or volunteering? Do you want to spend your next adventure in business with more money in the bank and less stress? Are you overly stressed and things of that nature? So you definitely want to focus on the feeling as well as the monetary exit.
One of the things that I think a lot of people forget too is once they sell, it's like, why did they run their business? What was it that they were doing that drove them to do what they were doing? And how are they going to replace that when their business is sold, right? So are they going to go start another business? What do you think the most common answer to that is?
Yeah, I think the most common answer is at this point, most people do go back and go on to their next adventure, right? They start another business, and they do it just with more money in the bank. It's less stress because they've got experience, they've got knowledge. They're not trying to figure it out for the very first time, and they're not going to make as many mistakes along the way. So it may not take 4 or 5 years to get that first substantial exit. It may take less time, or it may take more time because they're focused on growing it to an even larger business. And the next exit is going to be much bigger, much stronger, much better deal points and things of that nature.
So Harry Joyner, who is the top e-commerce recruiter in the country, he's placed me 4 times in my career. So I'm a huge Harry Joyner fan. Harry is also a secret fan of you, Joe. I don't know if you guys have met or not, but he has great things to say about you over the course of my career and talking with him. So he just bought your book here.
Thank you, Harry.
And so here's his question. Hey, Joe, I'd like to know what percentage of Joe's deals involve buyers who plan in advance to gut or reorganize the e-commerce team after the deal closes.
Yeah. If you'd asked me that 3 years ago, I would have said a tiny little percentage, right? Most people that are buying the businesses, they don't want to shake it up. They don't want to change things dramatically. But in today's world, if we're talking about FBA businesses, the staff is probably going to be gutted. They're probably going to be switched up and brought in-house by one of the aggregators. Normally, though, if it's not an aggregator buying your business, really let's focus on the 2 different kinds. If it's an aggregator buying your business, the team will probably be gutted. If it's not, if it's an individual like myself or Steven buying the business, and neither one of us do that, but if it was, we would want to keep the team in place because it reduces the risk. We don't want to dramatically change things the day after we buy it. Just take it if we do that. So most people like to keep everybody in place for a while after closing, at the very least.
One of the chapters in your book talks about these new FBA aggregators. I think it was chapter 13. And so Joe came on our podcast a couple months ago to talk about aggregators, and that won't be the theme of our topic today, but it's something of interest to our audience. So what would you say, just kind of in short summary, what have you seen change in the marketplace in the last 6 months?
It's getting much more competitive amongst the aggregators. Thrasio's not the only player anymore. They're the biggest, but they're not the only one. So, anytime we list a business for sale, we're getting, I think year to date, and look, it's June now. So halfway through the year, we're getting like an average of 4.5 offers on every listing. So it's getting much more competitive, and the multiples are going up. And I talk about it a little bit in the book, but I couldn't talk too much in detail about multiples and aggregators because it's just going to change. But what I do talk about is that you're going to get an email from them, right? There's 50 of them now.
And a physical mailer and
yes.
Probably a phone call.
Carrier pigeon, anything. They're trying to find you because they have to spend this money, right? They have to spend it. But you want to make sure that if you're feeling wonderful about getting one of those emails or phone calls, which you should, you've built something and somebody's interested in buying it, that you're talking to more than one of them. Because otherwise you're just kind of going into the Shark Tank when everybody calls in sick except for Mr. Wonderful. You're not going to get a good deal. So you got to focus on putting a good package together and presenting to all of them and letting them know that you're competing with XYZ as well. And we're going to give a certain date to get your best and final offer in.
I think Mr. Wonderful only bought like one business, and it was related to wine, of course, as far as I remember watching the Shark Tank. All right. Harry Joyner also asked, what percentage of Joe's deals are 100% Amazon versus direct to consumer versus blended Amazon and direct to consumer?
Yeah, good question. Again, look, if I go back 4 years ago, the vast majority was, direct to consumer. And a little bit was growing. Amazon was growing, but it might have been 75% direct to consumer, 25% Amazon. It's completely reversed now. More people are having more success selling on Amazon than they are building their own audience and growing it on their own website. So it's a little bit reversed. I also would have said a few years ago that if you've got a direct consumer product where you own the customer, you're going to get a higher multiple for the business over a third-party seller like Amazon. Today, it's not exactly the case. At the very least, it's even. And in some cases, the FBA business is going for a higher multiple because there's so much competition.
Easier to run.
Aggregators.
Yeah, a little easier to run too.
Yeah.
All right. So Joe, you've been in the e-com space for some time. So this is kind of a fun question. What was the first item you ever purchased online, if you can remember?
Oh man. It was, I can't remember what it was, but I guarantee you it was some sort of infomercial related product. It was probably, Beachbody on demand or something like that. And but of course it wasn't on demand. It was probably the CDs or something like that I bought. Or it might've been an Anthony Robbins program where I saw the infomercial and then I went and bought it online. And this was back in the late 90s.
First thing I bought was a Nintendo GameCube off eBay. What about sell? What was the first item you've ever sold online?
The first item I ever sold was a product called, it was a fitness program called Megafirm. And it was a fitness video by a guy named Jamie Brinkus, who was the man behind the woman with 8-minute abs and 8-minute, actually he did 8-minute abs, 8-minute buns, and he was Cindy Crawford's trainer for her fitness program as well. He created a program called 15 Minutes to Fitness. And I took that and paired it with some nutritional supplements and sold it exclusively online.
Harry also asks, is the aggregator trend a bubble? I'm going to give my small answer first. So I think it's not a trend, but I do think it is a bubble, if that makes sense. So like, I think, let's say there's 100 aggregators. I've got AmazonAggregators.com. If people are curious, like who are the aggregators, you can check that out. And this list has all the top ones like Thrasio and Perch. We've had both of them on our podcasts. Both of them raised significant amounts of money. But I think that what we're going to see is throughout this year, as some of these close some of their deals, they're going to realize it's much harder to run these businesses than they anticipated. Some of them are going to say, you know what, we're probably going to just roll up to another aggregator and sell out. So I think you'll see roll-ups rolling up to each other, maybe 20% of them, something like that. And then I think that some of them are going to collapse. Probably 20 or 30% will probably collapse within 1 year, would be my guess. The ones that are successful, the ones that have proven models that hire a large staff, Thrasio, 1,000 employees, we'll see the other big ones probably do the same thing. What are your thoughts, Joe?
I agree 100%. I don't think it's a trend. I think they're going to be around for a long time. I think it's going to continue to help Amazon business owners. But we're already starting to see, one of the folks on your list there has already started to lend money to other aggregators because they can't allocate it themselves to buying the businesses. There are more aggregators hoping to buy Amazon businesses right now than I think there are Amazon businesses to sell. So what's going to happen there is that the people with the money are going to start to go, well, I can't find an FBA business that fits. I wonder if we could buy a direct to consumer business. And they're going to start looking at that aspect of it as well, assuming that the investors will let them do that. And assuming, as you said, that they get the staff in place to operate it. We know, one of the first roll-up companies was 101 Commerce. And their model was to buy 101 FBA businesses in 24 months. And it didn't work. They had about 13 of them, and then they sold to Goja. And the problem was that, the founder of that company said to me before he bought his first one, he said, my goal is to buy 101 Amazon businesses and never log on to a seller account.
Good luck.
That's not going to work.
They all run themselves. # passive income.
That's not going to work. And I said, and there's not 100. There weren't 101 to buy in that time period in 24 months. Today there is, because everybody in the industry, this is what the aggregators have done. They've educated everybody that these are real legitimate businesses that are worth something. And now the owners of them are starting to get smarter and preparing for that, and exit as you will.
I think after the Amazon aggregators, it's going to be private equity followed by public sector. We'll see what happens. Thrasio is going to go public by end of year, is the rumor. Ryan says, is it smart to sell on other marketplaces like Walmart and Shopify, or just focus your energy on Amazon? I'll take the first stab at this. So I would say Walmart is still not producing for our clients. We're really surprised. I thought Walmart would have been, 10, 15, 20% of Amazon by now. It's still less than 3% for most of our clients. So really not worth focusing on that. And 2 weeks ago, we also saw on LinkedIn that there's some people that believe they have proof that Amazon is deprioritizing listings for people who are selling on multiple marketplaces. Now, we don't know if that's 100% factual, but we do know that people who said that firmly believe it. And then lastly, on Shopify, I think Shopify is a very worthy investment because you own your own customer. What are your thoughts, Joe?
I think Shopify, yes. If you can, as long as if you're just an FBA seller right now and it's all you do and it's all you know, and you're still growing like crazy, it might be a bad idea to take your eye off the ball and look elsewhere, because then you're gonna hit a pothole, a ditch, or something like that. So you need to pay attention to what is producing the revenue. If I have this conversation a lot, people are like, okay, I'm going to sell in 12 months. Should I expand to Shopify and put a lot of my focus there so I can get my revenues up to 20% over there on Shopify? And I said, it all depends upon how much that's going to divert your attention from Amazon and the growth there. You could grow, by 50% on Amazon and only, gain a portion of that, a tiny portion of that, if you focus on Shopify. So, low hanging fruit, what you're really good at, stay focused on it. If you've got an exit in mind, if you don't have an exit, for 3 or 4 years out and you want to diversify, I think Shopify would be the first place that I would go.
I would second that. It's probably a little easier to do Walmart and eBay, but I think Shopify is worth more valuable. All right. So Joe, back to your book here. Which chapter was the hardest to write and why?
Good question. The chapters with the details in it, the numbers, the stuff that makes your eyes bleed, those were the hardest to write because I tried like hell to make sure it didn't make your eyes bleed, right? At one point, I think I say, get your drink of choice, your whiskey, your beer, your wine, your ginger ale, whatever it is, and man the hell up, because you have to read this chapter. You have to pay attention to this, or you're never going to sell your business for the real value that it's worth. And then I had to get the numbers right behind it, making sure that, everything that I said in writing matched up to the numbers that were in the spreadsheets and things of that nature. That was the detail part of it. And that was the most challenging part overall.
What did you enjoy about writing the book?
I enjoyed the process of taking everything that I've said over the last decade, Stephen, and getting it down there in one place so that I can hand it to someone and have them go back and absorb it at their own time, right? Because it's hard to regurgitate. I got 300 pages here, something like that, right? I don't know how thick this is. It's hard to get that all out in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conversations. There's just so much detail and information that has to be sort of digested and absorbed a little bit, and then you go back for another bite. That's what I enjoyed about it, knowing that I was writing a book that first needed to be written. There's nothing written of this kind like this specifically for exiting online businesses. And second, just the fact that I knew that if we can get it out there in as many hands as possible, it's really going to help people.
So Harry asked another interesting question here. So he talks about tire kickers. How can Joe tell if a business owner is serious? Does Joe work harder to qualify clients or disqualify them? So that's a very interesting vernacular, qualify versus disqualify. And how high is the full of crap factor? So is there like a secret question you ask to find out if somebody's serious?
No, it's just a vetting process. They, generally know it's a competitive space where we are. And here we've got, 4.5 offers on average this year for every listing. I think like 62% have gone at or above asking price. We vet the buyers, we talk to them, we ask for proof of funds, we go through that process, but it's not a brutal process. It's building a relationship and one of trust, like anything else. It doesn't take long though. If you've done this for a decade and you've talked to thousands of buyers, to know when the full of crap factor is high. It's pretty quick. You sense it, and you ask some questions, and they ask some really stupid questions. They haven't read the package. Usually when someone makes an offer within an hour of the listing going out, because they didn't have time to actually read and digest the package that we put together or analyze the P&Ls, and then they make an offer. Even though like the second page in the package says, this is our process. And part of the process is you have to have a call with the seller of the business before you can make an offer. So, we have that process, and proof of funds is of course part of it.
What do most people get wrong about selling their business?
I would say it's the thing that's most important, which is developing a proper ad back schedule. They just leave money on the table, right?
And define ad backs so people understand.
Yeah. So an ad back is, the simplest way to put it is an owner benefit or a one-time expense that does not carry forward to the new owner of the business. An example of an owner benefit would be your mobile phone, right? You run it through your business, but I guarantee you the new owner of your business already has a mobile phone, so that expense is not going to carry forward. And so it is an ad back. So $300 a month times 12 months, $3,600 times a 3-4 time multiple, you're adding $10,000 to the list price of your business. That's a really simple, really, really obvious one. Another one is the cashback money. Most people slide that over to their personal account. They're spending $100,000 a month on advertising or whatever the number might be. You're getting 1% in terms of rewards or cashback, and that goes over to your personal account. That needs to be added to the ad back schedule. So you run a profit and loss statement, and on the bottom of the profit and loss statement, you get net income. That's what you get from QuickBooks or Xero. You export that to Excel, and then you identify all of your ad backs below the net income line, and you create that there, and you pull the numbers from up above, and it's your net income plus the ad backs that equals seller's discretionary earnings, and that's what is applied to the multiple to get the list price of the business. Most people get that dead wrong. And then the thing that they get wrong before that, believe it or not, I've talked, again, over 5,000 entrepreneurs, probably the percentage is getting better, but probably 80% of them don't use accrual accounting. And of those that, probably another 50% don't even have QuickBooks or Xero, if you can imagine.
Is it pretty easy to switch from cash basis to accrual?
No, not really. I wish I could tell you it was. Well, it's not easy inside of QuickBooks or Xero. You've got to work with your bookkeeper to do that, and I'd recommend an eCommerce bookkeeper to do that. We've got a list of them on exitpreneur.io under the resource section. The formula is not hard. It's really cost of goods sold is the part that needs to be on an accrual basis. So you're taking beginning inventory plus purchases minus ending inventory. And that's the actual, dollar amount that went out in terms of units sold. So if you can get that for beginning of the year, end of the year, beginning of the quarter, end of the quarter, things of that nature, you can flip it. You need to hit refresh, Stephen. You haven't been back to the website since it's gone live. Hit refresh and then
hit refresh. All right.
Go to the resource page, partners.
Yeah, I saw the partners there. I was scrolling through them.
No worries. So it's not easy in QuickBooks or Xero. It can be done after the fact inside the Excel spreadsheets, with the COGS formula, because that's the part that really needs to be on an accrual basis. But the fact is that, if you're off by 5%, and you spend $100,000 a month on inventory, you're off by $5,000, and that's just 1 month. So you could be overpricing or underpricing your business by a pretty substantial amount if you don't get the accrual numbers correct.
So at QuietLight, is it harder to find, more challenging to find a buyer or a seller?
Well, sellers at this point, right? I mean, we're getting 4.5 offers. I hate to keep repeating the same thing, but we're in an industry that's growing like crazy. We're probably up, 50% Actually, I think we're almost 70% of total revenues for last year, and it's only June. So we need more great listings. We could probably use more advisors too, right? The problem is we're very picky about who we bring on. So, I don't think we're ever going to be the biggest. We're not going to be a listing factory. I think we're going to continue to be very choosy, so that when buyers, want to buy something from somebody they trust and are willing to pay a fair price for it, they'll definitely come to us.
So what's next for Joe Valli? You've written this nice book. You've hit the checkbox that every entrepreneur wants, because I know you've been talking about doing this for a very long time.
Yeah.
Big effort to write a book, especially as one as thorough as the one you put together. So what's next?
Well, it's not done yet, right? It's been 10 years in the making, pen to paper, for 3.5 years when I started, and then ended up working with Scribe Media to help me get over the finish line. Now it's the podcast circuit. It's the networking. I need everybody that's listening to this to not only buy the book, but to tell your friends and tell your mastermind groups about it, to get the word out there so that we can help more people. This isn't a book about, QuietLight. It's a book about you, the online business owner, to help you make sure you get maximum value. Whether you're using QuietLight, selling it on your own, FE, website closers, doesn't matter. It's written to help you. So my next, project is it's twofold. Number one, it's to continue to get the word out about the book and help as many people as possible, while trying not to create a second job for myself. That's the tricky part, right? I already, cooperate, run QuietLight with my business partner, Mark. I don't want a second job. I've been saying all along, but that's why I need help from, folks like Mark and Harry that have made some comments to help me get the word out there.
Hey, Harry also asked another great question here. So when I was growing up, my dad used to tell me your business strategy should be your exit strategy. Does this idea apply in e-commerce?
Oh, hell yes. You're going to make so much more money on the exit, Harry, than you are running the business, especially if it's less than 5 years old. The typical amount of money that somebody, I go through the numbers in one of the chapters of the book. I can't even remember, but I do the analysis of somebody that owns a business for, I think it's 4 years. Yeah. And how much money they take out of the business, and then analyze how much they sell it for, and compare the two, and exactly how much they sell and what they've got left over. Right. Yeah. In both situations after tax, and it's much more than 50%. I think in that scenario I gave us probably like 60 or 70% was money that was after the exit. So yeah, people say, they often ask you, well, when should you start planning to exit your business? And the corny thing that's always say is, like your dad, it's when you start your business. It's the problem with it is it's really hard to do that, right? I've never written a business plan yet. I've been self-employed since 1997. Okay. I will never write a business plan. I did not plan to exit my business when I started the first one, or the second, or the fourth, or the fifth, or the sixth. Each time I get a little smarter. And so, you've got to start thinking about that as soon as you can.
You do look like you're aging like wine, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Stephen. I appreciate that. I am the sauce after all. The sooner you can start thinking about it, the better. And that's why, look, most people don't want to talk to a business broker. They're afraid they're going to be talked into something. And that's why I wrote the damn book, so that you could just pick it up and read it and absorb it in your own time, at your own comfort level, get an education, so that, like Harry's dad says, your business strategy should be your exit strategy. Start reading it right away as soon as you can. And you're going to get excited again, right? Sometimes as an entrepreneur, it's just a grind, right? We're just trying to grow the business, keep our head above water, fight off competition, not run out of inventory, whatever the case might be, hire the right staff. It's hard. If you know that you have a goal set and an end in mind, those days get a lot easier. And even if you get to that goal and you're happy, you can always push that goalpost further down the field. The key thing is knowing what your business is worth and marching towards that exit. That helps tremendously and invigorates people and gets them off that daily grind.
I've been trying to talk Harry into getting his own podcast. You can tell from his good questions today that he would be a very good host.
Yes.
He also asked, which tends to be worth more in today's market? A business with a phenomenal customer, a phenomenal team, a phenomenal brand, or a phenomenal product?
I'm impressed that there's no typos in the word phenomenal, not once. All right, that's pretty good. So if I can only pick one, I'm going to say a phenomenal brand. The problem with a phenomenal product is it's probably one SKU. If you got one SKU, it's higher risk, lower multiple. Phenomenal customer, it's a single, so it's not plural. So I'm gonna say you got one customer, that's a problem. It's, again, it's like SKU concentration. Teams are great, but generally they are replaceable. So I'm 100% phenomenal brand. Did I win anything?
I like that answer. I think this is a really tough one to answer. I am so in my career, I was a product guy. I was always focused on like, okay, how do I make a better product? How do I sell my product to more people more often for more money? And I have turned into a team builder, and that's because I run an agency, right? Yeah. So like, the next book after I finish up with Exitpreneur is going to be, I think actually I forgot the name of it. I've got it up on my tab here. Let me look it up. Start with Why. By Simon Sinek. So because I'm managing people all day long. And so I have an organization now coming up on 80 people. And so, yeah, I know. So it's like, I need like a chief of staff at this point. Yeah. All right. So people who have not, they'd be crazy if they haven't heard of you yet in the e-commerce space. I think you're a household name when it comes to getting out and exiting a business. But for those that haven't heard about you or QuietLight, who are you guys, and how can they get in touch with you if they're interested in using your services?
Cool. Yeah. We're just a bunch of entrepreneurs, to be honest with you, Steve. And we've all built, bought, and sold our own online businesses. We've had some epic successes and some epic failures. I talk about a few in the book. We've all been there and done that. I've built, bought, and sold over 6 businesses myself. At QuietLight, we've got people that have rolled up 30 content sites and sold it to private equity firm. Amanda was on the cover of Time magazine for her pearl importing business at the age of 24. Walker, who he's bought a half a dozen companies, best-selling author of a book called Buy Then Build. We're all successful online entrepreneurs here to help other online entrepreneurs. And that's the key thing. It's helping. That's the point of the book. It's giving everything to you that you need to make a decision. And it's a strange thing. I have a mentor that I respect tremendously. And, when I started talking about the business model of QuietLight at some point, he said to me, he's like, Joe, it just sounds like you're giving it all away and hoping to win their business. And I said, yes, exactly, Walter. That's exactly what we do. We help people and we educate them and we share our experiences and we instill confidence. And then, a certain percentage of them will certainly work with us because we can get them more value than if they go out and try to do it on their own.
I also want to plug your podcast. I think it is one of the most educational podcasts, real world, tons of great topics. And so for those that haven't subscribed to the QuietLight podcast, you guys need to check that out. Go get the book, Exitpreneurs. Again, today, last day to get it for 99 cents on Amazon. And so you got an opportunity to go get it. Just hit the buy the playbook button right there, order now. That'll take you over to Amazon. You can pick it up today. Or if you like hardcover a little bit better, $28 for it as well. Joe, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. It was a pleasure talking with you. You're always insightful. You are a walking encyclopedia of how to exit a business, and now it's on paper.
And now I am the sauce. Thank you very much.
I'm going to put that sauce on some whole wheat linguine. How's that sound?
Sounds good, man. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. We'll see you later. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.